with that. And now I haven't put a speaker view, so I would guess I'm the second picture. And then the third one is Brigitte. She's also with the SAIH team. She's a facilitator and assessor as well. And she keeps a lookout on the questions that might come in on YouTube. So if there are questions and you type them in, then Brigitte will take care of them. Thank you for that, Brigitte. And yeah, so we run the Hypnosis Institute and the training arms for a proud 25 years now. And we going with the times by making a more prominent online, having a more prominent online appearance. You can see, for me, this is not necessarily what I do every day. And when this technical part is in my lap, watching 3 screens and this, it gets a bit much. So because we're quite a big group, if it's okay with you that we leave you muted, as most of you are, from what I can see, because there might be background noises in your area and that might disturb it. And then Arno is going to take over in a moment. And towards the end of this event, he will have a live felt experience ready for us. I'm actually quite excited for it. And make sure that when that comes, that you really have quiet and privacy for yourself, that you won't be disturbed, so that you can extract the most juice out of the experience. Yeah, I think that is all we need to do for presentation. I know it's 8:05. Would you like me? Are you ready? Can I just give
Yeah,
a little intro?
we can go for it. Claudia, have you started the recording?
That's a good point. Thank you for that. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Record here. Record on this computer. Thank you. That's perfect. Thank you for that. I'm so glad I'm not alone on this. Okay, so in the role as the technical assistant and the interviewer of this, I did a 5-minute research. Not that I was ignorant about the topic, but I found a company called Gallup World Poll, and it's a management consulting company, an independent one apparently, that's doing polls since 2006 in over 160 countries, in over 140 languages, and they do polls about the global rise of unhappiness. It's a quite interesting thing. And the overall take from it is that for the last decade, that there is an absolute rise in unhappiness. And you know, there were events in the life, and there are many ongoing events in the world that are quite obvious to contribute to the personal unhappiness. But they say, so these results come from 2022. They say that about 4 in 10 adults say they experience unhappiness, and the greatest source of unhappiness is worry, which is 41%, very closely followed by stress. It's 40%. And then, that doesn't surprise me at all, physical pain, 32%. I mean, if we know that chronic pain, for example, is between every 3rd or 5th person, then that doesn't surprise me. Sadness, 27%. And anger, 23%. So these are all there's of course poverty and inequality and uncertainty and all of these things as well. But this is how they qualified it. And then there is an epidemic, and I'm pretty sure you've heard about it. There's an epidemic of loneliness that's happening on the globe. Has to do with social media, less in-person contact. And you see, because we are bombarded with any form of crisis in the world at our fingertips, we hold these crises in our hands in form of our phone. And it's really bombarding us. And even if our life, our personal life seems to be going okay, if we have a little bit of empathy in us and we see others suffering, that is also, it's choking, isn't it? It's choking our availability or our openness to be easygoing and joyful. How can I be joyful if there's so much happening in the world? And there is a lot, and it's not getting better. So when you look at these graphs and you go on the internet like I just did, it's actually quite profound how this graph is peaking and now plateauing a little bit. How we got, and the pandemic, of course, was quite influential in that we are really sitting in a pandemic of unhappiness. And there's one thing that stood out for me, Arno, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna come to that. They say, the researchers say that one of the best predictors of adult happiness is the happiness we have as a child or as a teenager. It just shows you, it's like you sowing. And so if we have, and think about poverty or inequality or hunger or wars or a lack of education, no work prospect, not being able to have proper education or whatever it may be. So the seeds are being laid at an early age, and then it becomes more difficult as an adult to embrace joy and fulfillment into your life. So I think the topic Arno has chosen for tonight is not only personally very interesting, because I think from our original makeup of why we're here, I really believe that joy and love is something that we're supposed that's supposed to be part of us. What's life worth if there is no fulfillment or joy? Fun maybe is a bit debatable, because, what does that mean to everybody? So I'm very, very eager to hear, Arno, what you're going to tell us, how we incorporate more of that, despite the outside circumstances, and maybe besides the inside circumstances, what can we do to incorporate more of that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Claudia. Well, now that we know that's what's wrong, let's quickly fix it, right? Why not? Why not? Right. So before we get into, how to have more fun and fulfillment and, get more joy out of life, we just need to cover a little bit of background quickly. And that is to kind of lay the foundation to understand everything else that's to follow. So let me just tell you what's going to happen. We're quickly going to talk about a little bit of background, how the mind works. And then we're going to talk about how your language influences your perception of your reality. And then we're going to touch on your inner child. So Claudia, thank you for that. That was so pertinent. And then we're going to do a felt experience. In other words, I'm going to do some hypnosis with you guys and girls, and give you the opportunity to actually integrate some of these discussions that we're going to have before the time, right? So that'll happen at the end. So everything's building to that, almost like, like laying the foundation, right? So I hope you're excited. And let's quickly start with just a little bit of background. And the first thing you just want to quickly talk about is your brain, right? So your brain inside your head doesn't actually interface with the environment. It's like it's in this box and it's all by itself in there. And it doesn't know anything out there except for what comes in through your senses. In other words, you've got these senses, your eyes, your ears, what you see, what you hear, what you feel, even taste and smell. And what your brain does with that, it builds a virtual reality. It builds your perception of your world inside your head. So as you look around your room, maybe it's some furniture or whatever else you have over there, yes, it's there, it looks real, but you need to understand that what you are seeing is actually a construct. It's a virtual reality. It's something that you are building inside your head. And scientists will tell us that in terms of the frequencies, the spectrums of what we can see and hear, we see a fraction of what's out there. So what you think you see and what you think is objective reality is only a small, small, small fraction of it, right? And here's the most important thing. What scientists have now shown or proven is that if they measure the bandwidth of your thinking, in other words, how much of your processing goes to visual processing, how much of your processing goes to auditory processing, in other words, what you hear, how much of your processing goes to what you feel and taste and smell, and how much goes to internal processing. They find that when you're observing something or experiencing your environment, most of the processing is internal processing. Now, what that means is you are actually generalizing, deleting, and distorting your reality as you observe it. You are changing it to suit your beliefs. In other words, those aspects in your thinking patterns that got shaped by the past and also by your expectation of the future. So as you are having this virtual reality built inside your mind, it's completely distorted by what you think and feel, mostly based on your past, right? And guess what? Then you react to it. So we already have these senses, what we see, what we hear, what we feel, and so on, that's getting a fraction, and then it gets further deleted, generalized, and distorted by our beliefs and our expectations. So what you end up with is this construct that often does not serve. So now you're stuck with this thing, this virtual reality in your head, and guess what? We think it's real, and we react to it as if it's real, right? And now this has a huge impact on how we experience life, right? How much joy and enjoyment and fulfillment we get from it. So here's the thing, your reality, if you go inside and just evaluate it for a moment, your reality, your environment, your world, your universe, whatever you want to call it, is it friendly or is it hostile, right? Are you comfortable in it or are you scared of it? Logically, this is going to have a huge impact on how much joy and fulfillment you'll be able to get from it, right? So that's the starting point. And then the question we have to ask is, if you change your beliefs, if you change your expectations, do you think you can change your reality, right? Is it possible for you to perceive your reality in a different way and get more fulfillment out of it? Well, the short answer is obviously, because lots and lots of people are having very similar experiences, and some are getting a lot of joy from it, and some are getting a lot of unhappiness from it. So the way you perceive it has a huge impact on what you will gain from your environment, right? So now that we've set that foundation, how, how are you gonna change the way you build your virtual reality inside your head, right? That's the question. Is it possible? Can we do it? Well, yeah, we can. And this is what we're going to discuss tonight. I'm going to show you a couple of ways, some secrets of how to actually be able to enable you to shift your perspective of your reality. And it's all about perspective, because how you perceive it, affects how you react to it, right? Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is this thing of how the mind works, right? Bit more background, bit more foundation to set us up for how to deal with it. And the first thing we want to talk about is this conscious, subconscious mind. And this is just a model. It was popularized by Freud. And we love it because it really works well most of the time. And what it means when I say it's a model, it's like a map, right? If you want to go from point A to point B, you want to drive somewhere, and you take out your phone, you put on your GPS. It's not reality; it's a map. But for getting from point A to point B, it works better than reality. Because imagine you're driving along, and next moment the lady in the GPS says, "And here on the left we have some daisies, and they grow in this time of the year, and they grow this tall, and they grow this old, and they come in this part of the world." And guess what's going to happen by the time you're done listening to the daisies? You're going to have missed your turn off, right? And right. So imagine that. So for some things, a map works better. And this is why we're using the map of the conscious and the subconscious. It's not exactly like that. It's an approximation because the mind is pretty complex, but it works for us. So what this model or map says is that we have these two parts, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And the conscious mind is that part of you, according to, psychologists, that's responsible for your analytical, rational thinking, your critical thinking, your judgmental tendencies. It's also what they call your adult part, right? And that part of you, according to another psychologist, his name was Miller, can do about 5 to 9 things in any given moment in time. That's called chunk size or conscious capacity. That's what the conscious mind can do. And the subconscious mind, on the other hand, according to latest research, can do millions of things per second. It's incredibly powerful. Do yourself a favor at some point, go and Google how many instructions or processes can the mind do per second. You're going to see a figure with so many zeros. It's incredible, right? And this is all part of the mind's processing capability. So this powerful subconscious mind of yours is in charge of your imagination. It controls your entire body up to cellular level. It's in charge of automatic functions. So if you read and write, you don't have to go ABC like when you were in grade 1, right? It's also that feeling part of you, that emotional part of you. And the most important thing for us, it is a child, right? So why am I telling you this? The reason why I'm telling you this is, remember that virtual reality we just talked about? Most of the construction of that world happens subconsciously. That means you're not really consciously controlling it. It happens so fast, instantaneously, almost automatically. It has to, because if there was some lag time, if it took a while to build your reality, then you might get hit by a car or something. So it needs to be very, very fast, right? And that's why part of why the subconscious mind does it, because its primary purpose is only to protect you, right? So now, how do we get in there? How do we change things that we don't have control over? How do we get this subconscious mind to let's shift gears over here. Let's think things differently. Let's go another direction with this. Yeah, that is the question, isn't it? And that's where hypnosis comes in, right? And the power of hypnosis, because we can access the powerful subconscious mind and we can start making shifts and changes. And I don't know if you've ever tried changing a deep underlying strong subconscious program or belief. Let's take a fear of spiders. Let's say you're very scared of spiders. And now you go stand in front of the mirror and you say to yourself, the spider is more scared of you than you of it. Most spiders are not poisonous. Most spiders are not going to bite you. And after you say this to yourself 10,000 times, guess what's going to happen when you see a spider? You're going to freak out, right? It doesn't go in. The subconscious doesn't accept it. Same thing with maybe a fear of flying. You can go and tell yourself again in the mirror 10,000 times, it's the safest way to travel, blah, blah, blah. Then get on that flight and notice what happens to your body, your stress response. right? It's because it's in the subconscious. It's not easy to change these things. If we could change them consciously, the world would be a very different place because we're able to deal with underlying things so easily. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. The subconscious mind keeps it, right? Why? Because it feels it needs to hold on to it because it's protecting you. And because it's a child, it's got the emotional logic of a child. So it grabs onto it and holds onto it like crazy because it doesn't want you to get hurt, right? So how do we work with that inner child? How do we get in there and say, buddy, no, we've been looking at the world this way. It's actually not angry at us at all. It's not nasty. It's actually very friendly. It's a kind universe, right? Do you think your inner child is going to go, yeah? Or is it going to, I don't trust this, buddy. Yeah. And this is the thing, right? This is the thing. How do we shift it? How do we get in there and start making changes? Well, obviously with hypnosis, I've said that. And that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to give you an opportunity to start shifting gears, to start changing the perception of your reality. And if you already have a friendly universe, we're going to make it even more friendly for you. But if it's hostile or unfriendly or resisting the things that you want to be, do, have in life, let's start changing that. Let's start shifting that so that you can start moving in the direction that you want to move into. Right. Okay, so I hope you're feeling excited. I'm so excited. I can't wait to share this with you. Claudia, do you have any input before we go into these secrets that I want to share tonight?
You know, Ida, I know you for a long time, but you got me mesmerized. So I can't wait.
Thank you, Claudia. You know, that's the
Yeah,
biggest
because
compliment.
you haven't touched on the things we are addicted to. And I'm not talking about what we classify as addictions to substances, but we are also addicted to ordinary things. And that's also being regulated by the subconscious. Or we would like to be addicted to certain things like going to the gym or a healthy lifestyle, and we can't, or it seems like impossible. And I mean, if we can, and I know we can in most cases, if we can reach deep in there and do some house cleaning and implant some possibly different perspectives, yeah, then there could be more ease, more joy. So yeah, I can't wait what you have to tell us.
It's so right. It's absolutely, there's so much here. And isn't that what we do? Because, you know, once you start going into the domain of the subconscious and all the coping mechanisms, you know, all the addictions and all the things people try and use to get, you know, to just get by. Yeah. Any case, we can do more of these live streams, right? More of these online events for those. Let's focus on the first aspect, and that is called language and labeling. And what's very interesting is, you know, as you grow up, and when you're a little one, you know, like imagine you're there, you're just a little baby or a toddler, or, you know, turning from a baby into a toddler, and you see a flower, a beautiful, bright flower for the first time. This is the first flower you see in this life, right? And now you're looking at it, you're mesmerized by it, if I can use Claudia's word. And it's so gorgeous. It's bright. It's got all these colors and the shapes, you know, of the petals and spitals and so on. And as you look at it, your mom or your dad or somebody comes along and says, it's a flower. And as you hear that word flower, you associate it with it. And then all of this wonder, all of this amazement gets linked to that word, and it gets collapsed into a single word. And now your experience of flower is just a word, right? You no longer have that incredible experience of it. And now this process starts. of labeling everything, right? Now everything gets labeled. And eventually, we are no longer having a felt experience of reality. We are having a set of labels. Yeah. And we're going through life processing like that. So the reason why I'm telling you this is to show that language and our experience of reality is directly linked, right? The language you use affects the construct, that virtual reality that you build inside your mind, right? So here's an example. They go on holiday, they go to Mauritius, right? And they come back and you go to them and you say, how was your holiday? And they say, oh, it was nice. You say, it was nice? You say, yeah, yeah. We sat on the beach and we ate. And you go, you sat on the beach and you ate? And? No, it was nice. It was nice. What did you do? Now we sat on the beach and we ate. It's like, okay. So did this person actually have an experience? Or did they just have a set of labels? Did they just label everything and come back with a set of labels? And notice how often people just jump at the first opportunity to just take the opportunity and summarize, take the experience and somehow summarize it into a word or a sentence, just to be able to categorize it. Because with this categorizing also comes a sense of comfort, almost like you can control it to some extent, right? So how do you free yourself from this process? How do you get a more expanded or richer version of reality in your construct? Well, the clue is language, right? If you start describing things differently to other people and in a dialogue, you're going to end up with a expanded or richer inner world or virtual reality. So imagine that guy or that girl or those people that went to Mauritius, they come back and they say, you know what? We sat on the beach. It was amazing. Feel the sun on my skin, look over the ocean almost to infinity. You feel that energy from the sun, soaking up that energy from the sun in my skin. It's almost like the energy that nature and the ocean gives up. I absorb that on every level. Stuck my toes in the sand. I could feel the coolness as I dug my toes in. And as I lifted some of those sand grains and I let them go through my fingers, when the sun reflects of it like little crystals. That's what I experienced. And you know what? As I was doing that and having that experience, I didn't have to do anything else. There were no demands. I could just relax and let go and be in the moment and have a complete experience, enjoyment, fulfillment, right? Now listen to the second description and compare it to the first one. Yeah. Doesn't it almost feel in the second one like you were there? Like I can almost imagine that some of you could feel that wind in your hair, or maybe that sun on your skin, or that sand grains between your toes, right? So here's the secret. You start describing your reality just by adding these descriptive words in your self-talk, and when you talk to other people, they're going to start hanging on your words. They're going to start enjoying your communication a lot more, and they won't even know why at first. While at the same time, you are teaching your mind to flush out your reality. Your virtual reality is going to become a lot more rich, a lot more expanded, right? So here's the thing. We're living in this world where everything is about more, bigger cars, bigger houses, bigger holidays, bigger jobs, more responsibility, holiday homes. Maybe you want to own a super yacht or an island. I don't know what I don't know what you want. But here's the thing. Imagine you have all that stuff, but your internal reality is poor. In other words, you are creating a virtual reality that's severely limited. Do you think you're going to get enjoyment from your stuff? Do you think you're going to get value from your stuff? I see it with my clients. So many clients, when they come to me, they've worked very hard, sometimes for decades, to achieve. And so often they're at the height of achievement financially, academically, or any other area. And then for a lot of them, it feels empty. It's almost like, what's the use? Why did I work so hard? And it's because they bought into society's concept of wealth. If you do this, if you make your inner world rich, you can have a fraction of that and have more enjoyment, fulfillment, and fun than somebody like that. Now imagine you somebody like that and you also have a rich internal environment, a rich internal and a rich external environment. How much fun will that be, right? So there's a secret. There's a secret to take this whole thing to another level. Now, I don't know if I should share it. I'm going to share it if I get a thumbs up or two. No thumbs ups. Oh, there we go. Yo, that's a lot. Okay, cool. I'll share it. If you want to take this, and guys, let me recap. It's not rocket science. It's not difficult. It's easy. All you do is you just start adding descriptive words to whatever you're talking about. Instead of a car, call it a red car, right? Instead of a red car, start adding something else. A shiny red car, or a beautiful shiny red car, or a beautiful shiny sports red car. Can you feel as I add the words, how the adrenaline, how the feeling starts amping up? And you just add these descriptive words to your language. It's that simple. For those of you that's already done some of the courses, and especially from the forum that's done the conversational hypnosis course, you're going to recognize this straight from conversational hypnosis. Over there, we obviously take it to a much higher level. But it's that descriptive language. Remember the adverb, adjective modifiers, right? Any case. So now, what is the secret? What do you want to do to get even more value from this? Very easy. When you describe something, you also add how that makes you feel, right? So when you're sitting there on the beach and you're feeling the sun on your skin and the wind in your hair and sand between your toes, and there's this, you experience this inner peace, this sense of comfort, this enjoyment, this sense of freedom, being here, having this experience. Can you feel it in your body as I say it? Right? So by just adding the feelings and sensations that you get from it, the emotions as well, it takes the whole thing to an entirely different level. And what you're doing now is you're starting to teach your mind to create a more enriching virtual reality for you. In essence, shifting and changing your whole reality by doing that. Okay, there you go. I hope you're excited by that. And I hope you can see the potential, because I'm giving you the end result of a tremendous amount of technical information. There's so much behind this, but you don't need to know how a car works to be able to drive it, right? So I'm giving you the most valuable part. How do you get benefit? How do you get value? You just change your language, change your internal world, and your external world will follow. Right. Okay, let me just check here my papers if I'm covering everything. Claudia, anything you want to add?
No, I think you explaining it really beautifully, because it is how we file things away that puts a lot of limitations on our experience, and that goes for all aspects in life, and it's sometimes understandable because we have all history, and we look at statistically, how it has been, and then we take the backwards label and we project them forwards, and we make the future to look like the past. And that's tunnel vision, really, isn't it, if you think about it? Because you don't know what's going to happen in the future, and whether a very similar experience could be so much more than we allowed ourselves to have in the past. So the human dynamic is just so amazing if we would just allow ourselves to explode into the richness of our experiences. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sure. I love that. I love that. So I do want to add at this point, I'm not saying that language is bad. We needed to communicate. We needed to be able to survive and socialize and everything. It's just that when the language is so poor, it starts taking away some of the beauty, some of the fun, some of the enjoyment and fulfillment and fun from life, right? And that's what this is about, enriching your language so that you can actually have that full experience. Okay, right. So that's the language part of it. And it goes much further, but this is plenty, and you can do so much of this. You can do so much of this. So the next thing I want to talk about is connecting to your inner child, right? So earlier I mentioned that when you're a little one, the labeling process starts. And when the labeling process starts, this is the start of starting possibly to delete and distort some of the good things in life, maybe for efficiency or whatever other reason. I think when a mechanic says, pass me the spanner, and you start getting all poetic about it, you're probably going to get in trouble at work, right? So, we start communicating in a very functional way. But with that functionality, we also start losing a lot of the joy and fulfillment and enjoyment from experience, right? Okay, so that inner child, connecting to that inner child. So how do we connect to the inner child? Well, we know that the process, it started going wrong when you were little. So one way is to go back to being little and fix it, right? Start doing things differently from a inner child state. We're great if we can go younger physically, but a shortcut is to go emotionally in the mind and just become like a child and start connecting to what we call the inner child state and start correcting what happened over there, right? So that's a good starting point. How do you do that? In this serious world, I don't want to give my age away here, right? But, there's a phase in my life where I think it's society that did that, where serious was cool, If you're serious, you're cool. And even smiling is not cool, man. You must be serious. And that's the biggest bunch of crap, right? Having fun, smiling, laughing, that's cool, right? Go to a restaurant and look around and you see the tables where there's the most laughter. That's cool. The ones sitting with serious long faces just staring at each other or their phones, that's not cool, right? So if you have any of those old associations, like my age group has a little bit of that, just drop it. It's not worth it. It's not worth your own inner joy and happiness to put on this serious vibe, right? There's always space and place for fun, even if you're doing very serious work. And as hypnosis practitioners, we often do, right? We deal with people's deepest problems. And if you can't have fun, man, then it gets hard very quickly. In any case. Right. So how are we going to access that powerful inner child? How are we going to connect to it and start making shifts and changes from that aspect? There's a secret. Again, I've got another secret. Do you want to hear it? Let's see if my connection work. There's no thumbs ups. No, it didn't work. Oh, there's one. There's another thumbs up. No, I need more. I need more. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's enough. Thank you. Right. So with these thumbs ups, I'm going to go ahead and share. Right. It's profound. And yet it's so logical if you think about it. How are you going to connect to your inner child? You know how? By having fun. That's it. Find your fun. How are you going to have fun? Right? And maybe you're instantly thinking sports car, motorcycle, super yacht. Nah, that's not what I mean. When I say fun, think like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. A child can sit over there, pull faces and have fun. Right? That's what I'm talking about. How are you going to connect to that sense of fun? And I don't know what it is for you. Maybe it's playing in the sand or in the mud. Maybe it's gardening. Maybe it's watering the plants. Maybe it's walking the dogs. Maybe walking in nature, right? Maybe it's baking some cupcakes or cooking a meal if you like cooking, right? Whatever that is for you. This is very, very important. And I recommend you make a fun list. Take a piece of paper and start think about the things that used to give you most fun. Some people like walking, jogging, cycling, archery, whatever that is, find it. Go and find it in your repertoire, in your memory, and write it down and start doing it again, because it'll give you access to that fun and enjoyment and fulfillment. How many people have forgotten how to have fun? My practice, I often ask people, so how do you have fun? And they go, watch TV, right? Now, here's something you need to understand. If your fun involves a screen, a computer screen, a TV screen, a laptop screen, a phone screen, in other words, social media, it doesn't qualify. It doesn't qualify. It needs to be physical, right? Even reading. Why? Because screens and reading and all those things on some level is associated with work, which means your inner child is not going to get maximum fulfillment from it, right? Yeah, sure, you can do those things as well, but you need to add physical fun, right? This is very, very important. Find your fun. Now, what's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen if you start having more fun in your life? Something profound is going to happen. Your construct of reality is going to shift, and your mind is going to go, life is fun. The world is fun. My environment, my universe is fun. And as you start shifting and perceiving your world as fun, what's going to happen to your experience of it? What's going to happen to your fulfillment and enrichment of your life? Can you see it yet? It's almost like an association, isn't it? Just by associating fun to your world, not long the mind does that. It applies to, we call it apply to all. It applies to all. It starts making these connections. All the neurons connect to everywhere. And before you know it, this fun gets associated with your entire experience of reality. Wouldn't that be awesome? Imagine that. Again, there's a secret. I like my secrets, right? Do you want to hear it? Yeah, there you go. Okay. There's something you can add that'll instantaneously take this to an entirely new level, right? What is that? It's laughter. It's humor. How can you spot what's funny in this situation, right? How can you notice what is just hilarious about this right here, right now, as you are in that situation? Maybe everybody's serious and you go, oh man, I know it's serious, but that's good stuff. That's funny, right? And you just laugh. You laugh out loud, right? And you do more and more and more of that. Yeah, it's going to release all those feel-good hormones, the dopamine and the endorphins and everything, and that's great. You know what it's also going to do? It's going to upgrade your virtual reality, your representation of reality inside of you, which means your whole life is going to give you so much more. All you have to do with these principles is persist, right? So it becomes a habit. Yeah. In South Africa, there's so many people getting so down on the incompetence. It doesn't really matter if you go to a municipality or a power provider or the government or wherever else you go these days. It seems that they have mastered this art of incompetence. It's phenomenal, It's just like, man, how can they, even counting, yeah. The incompetence is something else. I love it. For me, it's just the biggest source of humor. I crack myself at this incompetence. I can't help it. It's so funny. And you know, when it's so funny, it's so hard to take it seriously. It's so hard to get down on the political and economic and all the situations because the mind cannot do this laughter and seriousness at the same time. It doesn't work that way, right? Okay, so that's the inner child.
Mm.
Let me check my papers here. I think I'm doing pretty well in terms of covering what I need to cover with you guys.
Coming on time. You know, being German, we have a saying. I try to translate. It doesn't sound as smooth in English as it sounds in German, but it was drilled into me. You know, being a proper German, you first do the things you have to do, then you do the things you can do, and then you do the things you want to do.
Oh, that's
And
still,
that is the rule, the agenda that has stipulated my life, because it made sense. And if you think of the hardship that the Germans went through after the wars and blah, 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 maybe there was even some value in this for a while. But you know, when I decided to topsy-turvy that to a degree, and for example, to start my day with something that I want to do. To start the day. It doesn't have to be hours long, and it doesn't mean I'm neglecting the stuff that I have to do. But if I start my day with something I want to do, it gives a whole new flavor to the rest of the day. So why I'm bringing this up is that I was running on autopilot that my subconscious has received and stored and made me perform for many years of my life, until when you do your self-searching, you come to these realizations, and then you have to start to unprogram or reprogram yourself. And yeah, so maybe that resonates with some of you. You know, go and do the things you have to do. You should do this. You ought to do this. Yeah, sure. Okay. But let me first put the flavor for the day. The flavor for the day is I want to have some cool stuff happening, some that gives me oomph, that gives me juice, that gives me the zest for life. And it doesn't have to be long, but it does set the flavor. Yeah, so I understand what you're saying.
and now compare this to maybe some of the other things you might have read about positive affirmations and blah, blah, blah. Can you see the depth here? You see, this is totally another level. You are building, we are having a very fertile soil here. Now you do this with your reality and then you throw in some good affirmations. Then good stuff's going to happen. But you have your normal reality and you go for some affirmations or visualizations or other techniques, it's just going to clash. It's going to cause internal conflict, right? Any case. I think that's important to say that as well. Right. So yeah, I think this is it. You know, this is two very important things I wanted to share for tonight. You know, the language and the labeling and the connecting to the inner child. So what we want to do now is we want to set the frame for our hypnosis session. And I see, if I look at time, we are just there. So I want to spend a few minutes just quickly covering what you need to be able to get maximum benefit from this hypnosis session. Right. So the first thing we just want to talk about are these misconceptions. So unfortunately, due to the television, you know, the stage hypnotists, some series, some even movies and so on that have come out, we have these misconceptions where people think when you go into hypnosis, you're going to be controlled. You know, like a stage hypnotist, and then the people go crazy and they do like chickens, chickens on the stage. It's not like that. You know, when it comes to entertainment, they cheat. And it's important for you to know that. You can't trust it. You know, it's like the magician that got all the cards, and the next moment the cards outside the window. Don't know how it got there. It's amazing, but there's a trick. You know, somebody slipped it there earlier or something. There's something going on, right? There's a trick. And it's the same thing with stage hypnosis. There's a whole process that goes on to the background because it's entertainment. And that is not what this is. This is not entertainment. We are not serious because we want to have fun, but we are going to not to make a fool of anybody or have that intent. We actually want you to just gain maximum benefit, right? So that's the first thing to know, that you are completely in control. So many people think that when you go in hypnosis, you're not in control. It's not true. You're completely in control. And then you'll never say or do anything you don't want to say or do. And also, you know, people like saying these words, you're under. And when people say to me, under, I say, under what? Like, under what? Because they have this misconception that it's like anesthesia. It's not anesthesia. You are going to remember everything that's important to you. You'll never say or do anything you don't want to say or do, right? And it's definitely not like sleep. It's not a blackout. So many people will call me and say, you know, are you going to tell me what happened after the session? And then I have to explain to them that you're not out, right? You're completely present. You're completely there. You'll know what happened, everything, right? So this is very, very important when it comes to hypnosis, to know these things, right? And also that you can think in hypnosis. So many people, you know, they do hypnosis and then they have a thought and then they go, oh, I'm doing this wrong. Oh my word, I just had a third thought. This whole thing, it's not working, right? And you know what? It's not like that. You can still think in hypnosis. It's just interesting, you know, people experience hypnosis very differently. A lot of people experience it the way I experience it. And what I find is, yes, I can think. And it's almost like my mind doesn't want to. It gets so lazy. You know, like when you're drifting off to sleep and you want to think about work or something else. And as you're drifting off, your mind is just going one direction. It doesn't care about these thoughts and work or anything else. And even although to me it feels like that, something that's amazing about hypnosis is that the mind stays focused. It stays highly focused while it becomes too lazy to think. It's a very, very nice experience. It's very, very relaxing. While the body tends to become very heavy or light, especially if we do more spiritual work, most of the time heavy though. So even though you can move in hypnosis, if you have an itch, maybe your nose itching, you can scratch it in hypnosis. And yet, what happens to me, it's like my hands are too heavy. I just don't care. So nose or itchy nose or whatever, itch away. My hands and arms are just way too heavy to lift them up to go and scratch my nose, right? So this is just some of what you can expect when you go into hypnotic state, right? Maybe something I should mention is the posture, the best posture for hypnosis. You know what? We recommend sitting up, or if you recline, not lying flat. So, you know, have a little bit of an incline over there, just so that you stay awake. You know, when you get too comfortable, especially in the evening, and you go into hypnosis, it's a sign to your mind to go to sleep. So we actually recommend sitting up. In terms of your posture, you know, normally just balancing the head comfortably on your shoulders, not going forward or going backward, but basically just balancing it like, you know, head is quite heavy. And if you find that balance where it's just comfortably balancing on your shoulders, that's the most comfortable place or position to keep it in, to get the most value from the experience, right? Okay, let me just double check. I think I'm covering what I need to cover with you guys. Oh yes, very important. When we go through hypnosis, I'll say things like imagine, visualize, or pretend. And the reason why I say that because it does not matter how you experience it. There's no wrong way of experiencing it. So some people have a reaction to the word visualize, because maybe in their mind they can't visualize, or maybe they can't see things in perfect Technicolor, 3D, whatever. HD, what are these new TV screens you get now? This beautiful high definition. No, however it comes to you, even if it's blurry, or even if there are no visuals, even if they're only sound, or even if there's only sensations and feelings, or maybe even there's nothing, but you just sense or know it's there. All of the above is perfect, right? And so this is why I say the words imagine, visualize, or pretend. It's to let you know it does not matter how you experience it. It's okay, right? What's going to happen, the more hypnosis you do, the more your senses will train. We call it training the senses, which means the more visually aware you'll become, the more sound or auditory aware you'll become, the more kinesthetic or tactile aware you'll become, even taste and smell, right? Just so you're aware. So that might remind you of what we said earlier about creating a better virtual reality. So does that mean hypnosis will help you create a better virtual reality? Right? Any case, what else we have over here? Yes, the last thing for this next part, I don't know if anybody wants to go to the bathroom quickly. Should we give you a minute? Go to the bathroom just so you're completely comfortable. But please don't listen to this while driving or doing anything that needs your attention, especially for safety reasons, equipment, machinery, for this hypnosis part, acknowledge yourself. Find a spot where you can be quiet and not be disturbed to get maximum value, right? Yeah. Okay, I think that's basically it in terms of preparation. And I see it's 9 o'clock, so I'm on the dot to the minute. If there's anybody that quickly wants to go to the bathroom, we give you a minute to run. You better go quick, hey? Else you're going to miss out. Right? And then, Claudia, I don't know if you want to add anything while people quickly go to the bathroom.
No, I think we covered it.
Very, very quiet.
Sorry?
Be very quiet.
Am I quiet? Am I not on? No. Can you hear me now?
No? Very soft. Is the mic on?
Yes, it is.
That's strange. Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Okay. Well, I can hear you. You're just soft.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to shout. I think to have an open mind, to you always have the right when you hear a suggestion or some description to say, no, I don't like that. But if it's okay and it resonates with you, just be open, just accept it, just have fun with what's happening. And don't come in with a critical mind, come in with a receptive mind. I think that's valuable. You can stay critical, but that would mean that your conscious mind is most probably overriding the beautiful opportunities that are lying there waiting for you in your subconscious mind. Yeah, cool. I'm so super stoked to hear what you're going to do, Arno.
Yes, I'm just as curious. Any case, Claudia, thank you for that. And I think that is so important to go into this with that kind of inner child state, that inner child kind of feelings and emotions. Because by doing that, you're opening yourself up to get maximum benefit, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
I think,
also,
well, sitting here at this time, you probably want to get maximum benefit, right? That's what I'm kind of guessing why you're here. So if there's any little voice or any little part that's being judgmental, silence it and say, you know what, this is for me to have an experience. Let's just enjoy. Let's just soak up these benefits. You can rationalize, logicalize, analyze, if there's such words. You can do all of this later or tomorrow. There's always time for that. But for now, go for maximum. Grab this for yourself. If there's a little child and there's a present and it's wrapped, It's going to grab it, hey? It's not going to be modest. It's just going to go, I want it and I want to play with it and it's mine. And this is what we want for you. You know, we want you to gain maximum benefit from these sessions. And tonight, sure, tonight's an important one. Eh? It's not serious, fun, but important. Very, very important. Okay, so we've given people 3 minutes, which I think is more than enough. So I see there's still people's cameras that are off, so I hope they're going to get back soon. But let's just go into this and let's have an experience, right? And this experience, the intent here is just for you to integrate what we've covered already, right? So the whole experience is tailored around you integrating these concepts or these principles we've talked about, right? So the first step for you to be able to do this is just make sure you're nice and comfortable, right? And remember what I said, balance your head comfortably on your shoulders and relax and just become aware of your environment, right? Out there, maybe, I don't know what's happening out there. Maybe it's quiet there where you are. Maybe there are some cars, people, dogs, or other sounds. Here on my side, it's very, very quiet, right? This time. And having acknowledged all of that just for now, it means that becomes unimportant. As you allow your attention to drift inwards, just acknowledge your environment inside, there where you are. I don't know, the furniture, maybe there's a fan or a fridge or something else humming, or maybe a laptop fan or whatever else. Just acknowledge everything there. And how, having acknowledged all of this, it means all of this for now also becomes unimportant. As you allow your attention to drift inwards now to your body, noticing your posture, noticing the way you're sitting or reclining. And then become aware of your breathing. As everything else to the outside is unimportant now, except my voice, take my voice with you. As you become aware of your breathing now, and noticing the in-breath and the out-breath, or the out-breath and the in-breath, and noticing this little gap, this little moment of silence between the in-breath and the out-breath, or the out-breath and the in-breath, and noticing that you can go right into that. And as you allow your attention to drift inwards now, noticing that sense of peace, comfort, tranquility, and enjoying how good that feels to relax now. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and close your eyes so you can continue to drift inwards so much more easily now. Knowing the deeper you go into yourself, the more benefit you get from this experience now. And as you continue to drift inwards, take a part of your attention and bring it to your eyes and relax. Relax every tiny little muscle, nerve, and fiber in and around your eyes completely now. And then hold on to this relaxation. And while holding on to this relaxation, spread that relaxation from your eyes to your nose, to your cheeks, to your forehead, through your entire head, now into your ears, your lips, your mouth. You might even notice your tongue starting to go heavy inside your mouth. As you allow this relaxation spread down your neck, your throat, your shoulders, your upper arms, down, down, down your elbows, all the way down into your forearms, into your wrists, and into your hands now. And if there are any thoughts, they are absolutely welcome. In actual fact, we don't even care for thoughts. You could even imagine, visualize, or pretend it's like a little boat drifting away, taking all these thoughts right along with it. And that's okay. to let these thoughts go for now, because you can have the ones you want back later with much more clarity and certainty. Now, as you go ahead and allow this relaxation to double and deepen, because you can allow this relaxation to double and deepen as it moves back up your arms, your elbows, your upper arms, your shoulders, your neck. And in a moment, not yet, but in a moment, you can allow this relaxation to move down your spine. You can even imagine it's like a light, lighting up your vertebra one at a time. And because our bodies are connected to our spines with muscles and nerves and so on, as this relaxation moves down your spine, it allows your entire body to become loose, limp, and heavy. So very comfortably relaxed now. Go ahead and allow this relaxation to start going down your spine, going all the way down, 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 and enjoying how good that feels to relax and let go now. As that relaxation starts moving down the front, your chest, your stomach, and I don't know what that relaxation feels like in your stomach. Maybe it's a heavy relaxation. Maybe it's a warm relaxation. Or maybe it's just a natural, normal relaxation that continues down into your hips, your buttocks, your upper legs, all the way down, 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 into your knees, down, 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 into your calves, all the way down into your ankles, into your feet now. You might notice there's a part of your body that's a little or a lot more relaxed than the rest. Maybe a hand or a foot or an arm or a leg, or maybe your stomach, or maybe even your entire body now. Go ahead and focus your attention on this spot. And as you do, notice how the relaxation in this spot doubles and deepens. And as the relaxation in this spot doubles and deepens, notice how the relaxation from this spot starts spreading through your entire body now, and enjoying how good that feels to relax. Go now. And as you continue to allow your body to become more and more comfortably relaxed, you can allow your mind to follow into this relaxation now. By imagining, visualizing, or pretending you're in a space or a place where you can relax completely. And I don't know where that is for you. For some, it's being in the beach. For some, it's being in the bush. Water streams, waterfalls, forests, mountains, lakes. Wherever that is for you, allow yourself to be in that space. For some, it's your own backyard. And I don't know what about being here is so relaxing to you right now. Maybe what you see, maybe what you hear, maybe what you feel, maybe even smell or taste. You know, like when you're in the beach, you can almost taste the saltiness. Almost as if you can drift off into a dream world now. And it doesn't matter if this is a dream world you go to when you have a daydream, if this is the dream world you go to when you sleep at night, as long as you take my voice with you now, drifting off into this dream world where everything and anything is possible. And here in this dream world, create a space and make it a big open space. You know, maybe like a warehouse, huge open space. And this space is a virtual reality. Now, we already said earlier that what you construct in your head is a virtual reality. But now you're going to create a virtual reality within a virtual reality. Right? So create this big open space and make it huge. Right? And it doesn't matter how you experience it. Maybe in detail, or maybe you just have an inkling of it being there. And now, in this virtual space that you've just created, Go ahead and then create your environment, your world. Wherever you stay, your house, your flat, wherever that is, the inside of it. And even the surroundings, the roads around, the road to work, your work environment, friendships, family, social environment, create all of that in there. So now you're creating your entire environment in this space. And if this space isn't big enough, make it bigger. Make it much bigger. Fill this entire space and make it large. So you have your entire environment, your world inside of your creation. And now that you've done that, make it an early morning, maybe on a weekday. And I don't know if you're still lying in bed or if you're already up, or you're just sitting up or just starting to get going for the day. And now, because this is a virtual world, it means you can make changes. And now you're going to start living this day with these changes we've discussed, right? You're going to add this language, this descriptive language, and you're going to experience it like a child. And by doing this, you are preparing your mind. You're teaching your mind of how you want it to experience and construct your internal world. So I don't know what's the first thing you do. Maybe you make a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, or maybe you have a green smoothie, or whatever else that is for you. Go ahead and do that in your mind. And as you do that, experience it fully. Taste it. See the steam rising of it if it's hot. Maybe the frost on the side if it's cold. Taste it. The texture, the experience as you swallow it, as you enjoy it, and how it makes you feel. Is there comfort? Is there familiarity? And now that you've done that, continue with your day. And I don't know what you do next. Maybe we can fast forward a little bit, like, a video. You fast forward a little bit and you're now on your way. I don't know where you're going, maybe to work, maybe somewhere else. And as you're on your way, notice how you experience things differently. Maybe on the side of the road, you notice the trees and the buildings and so on, the colors, the textures, the details. You become aware of the depth of it. Maybe you can describe it with certain words. Maybe there's traffic, maybe there's other cars, and maybe you have a habit of experiencing them in a certain way. And yet for this experience, you know what? All of these cars, all of us, we have something in common. We are going somewhere. And that common goal means we have a shared experience. And as you process like that, can you feel it? Can you feel that sense of camaraderie as all the sounds take you deeper? Right? And now continue with the rest of your day to add all these sensory experiences, all these sensory details. I don't know, maybe you're listening to some radio on the way as well. And there's the humor. You start noticing the humor in things, and you start laughing at things in a nice way. You laugh with them, right? And you're having this enjoyment, all these neurotransmitters, all these feel-good hormones rushing through your body because you're starting to experience your world in a more supportive way. Even at work, with the boss or the employees or the co-workers, you have these regular kind of responses that's so ingrained. Notice how you are able to start experiencing that in a more fulfilling way by describing it in a different way. What is it that you do? And deep down, by doing what you do, what difference are you making in this world? And enjoying how good that feels to be coming into alignment with a more supportive environment. Right? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some time to maybe complete that day. You know, you can, what's beautiful about the mind is time is so relative, which means you can fast forward through the rest of that day and fill in all these details intuitively. So I'm going to give you the next 3 breaths to complete that day in the most fulfilling way that comes to mind right now. There we go. That's right. Now that you've done that, look back on that day and notice the sense of fulfillment, fun, enjoyment, joy that comes from having had this experience. That's right. And now go inside and congratulate and thank yourself for shifting and changing your internal perceptions, your internal reality into a more supportive reality. So you can start having the things you want in life in a more fulfilling way. That's right. And now, as you slowly start disengaging from that virtual reality, starting to come back, I'm going to count to 5. And when I get to 5 and snap my fingers, you can allow yourself to feel refreshed, alert, or just as appropriate for this time of the day, so you can have a good night's rest, if that's what you're doing next, right? Allowing these powerful processes to continue to integrate to the deepest levels of who you are and continue to support you in all the areas of your life. And I don't know if you can feel the potential here. If you can feel the sense of being an architect and shaping and creating every single day from the inside out. Now, 1, putting all the aspects of who you are into perfect harmony as these powerful processes continues to integrate and activate and support you in all the areas of your life. And enjoying how good that feels. Knowing that from now on, whenever you go into hypnosis, you'll find yourself getting more and more value from the experience. 2, noticing that energy starting to come back to your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet. Amazing energy starting to fill your entire body as these powerful processes continues to integrate, activate, and support to the very deepest levels of who you are. 3, amazing energy filling your entire body. 4, taking deep breath in. And 5, refresh, alert. Welcome back. Or what is appropriate for this time, right? There we go. There we go. Sure. Look at that. So many smiles. Isn't that amazing?
Wow, that was beautiful. My rest of the day took a completely different turn than I expected. Ah, lovely.
Thank you. You guys and girls obviously did amazing. This is what we want. And have you noticed the possibilities, the potential? So how do you continue to gain maximum benefit from this? Well, in the mornings, just close your eyes, imagine your virtual space and create your day, right? One day at a time. And obviously, if you can go into hypnotic state when you do it, it's even better. And that's why I'm going to share on the WhatsApp groups our next self-hypnosis courses, self-mastery courses in both Cape Town and Joburg. If you want to add self-hypnosis to your skill set, to be able to go into these deeper levels and make the programming that you do with yourself even more effective, right? Then above and beyond that, please stay on the WhatsApp groups. We're already thinking of our next free online event, and we use those groups to share the information with you. By now, you've probably noticed those groups are muted. So it's not like your normal WhatsApp groups that get spammed with so much nonsense. We only post pertinent, valuable course information or event information on there. So that's your access. That's your invitation. And we use it to control access, because with something like this, if there's not controlled access, the groups will just go, way too large, way too quickly. Right. Okay. What else? And for those of you that feels the what do we call it? Hypno fever, can feel the passion and the possibility of maybe considering to do something like this as a career, and maybe being a force for good or make a difference in this world. I'll also post the dates for our practitioner training that's coming up shortly in Cape Town, and a bit later in August, I believe, in Joburg. Okay. And then the last thing, please send us some feedback. After each of these events, we get so much beautiful feedback. And you've got me directly on WhatsApp. The number you registered with is the Mastermind WhatsApp account. You can just let us know and let me know directly how you experience this, what value. I mean, if some of the feedback has been tremendous, with people saying things like, it's changed my life. And we love that. We love that. So if you want to share anything about your experiences, please go ahead, share with us. It inspires and motivates us to continue to create these events and build these events and create awareness in the world. And please share with your friends, your family, people that you think might benefit, so they can also join these groups. I will be posting, like I say, the next event's information shortly, and share that link, even on social media if you want. We want a lot of people, right? We're controlling access, but we want a lot of people because we want to create awareness, right? Because we're having fun. It's all about having fun. Okay. Claudia, anything else that you want to add?
No, thank you. Thank you. That was really beautiful. If there's always a few weeks until we have another live stream, and if you guys enjoyed this, we actually starting, our YouTube channel is starting to grow really beautifully. There are, I don't know, 50 or so videos on there. Some are short, some are very quite in depth, quite advanced. But yeah, have a look around. We call it our hypno family, our hypno world. That's what we're passionate about, because we're changing lives kind of one student, one client at a time. And that's our purpose. And if you have any questions or any input to give, we are all ears. And thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Have a beautiful evening. And I'd really trust that day you've created is going to be tomorrow.
And the day after, and the day after, getting better and better.